Hello, Professor and class. This presentation is an analysis of strategic negotiation of Bangladesh safety agreement post the event of a disaster where a building called Rana Plaza collapsed. The presentation will cover the following topics: background, cross-cultural differences involved, conflict reduction techniques, factors affecting negotiation, and was the negotiation effective. The major clothing retailers around the world, such as H&M, Calvin Klein, source their products from Bangladesh that employs close to 4 million people in the entire garment industry. In the year 2013, a building called Rana Plaza collapsed, which employs over 4,000 workers in manufacturing clothing. A total of 1,129 people died in the incident, which brought attention from people worldwide. Most of the major retailers get their products manufactured from Rana Plaza. This increased the pressure on Swedish company H&M and 70 other companies in Europe to form an agreement to raise money and improve the safety standards of the factories in Bangladesh. This also made them liable for the future accidents. This also required some of the companies in USA to sign the same agreement. While US companies were drawing new safety standards, they were not ready to sign the agreements. This led to conflicts and differences between European companies and the companies in US. With both regions given a title of developed countries, we might think that they have the same business cultures. While major companies in Europe agreed to sign an agreement, the American companies were reluctant to sign the agreement. Upon analyzing them using Hofstede's cultural dimensions, I was able to differentiate the cultural traits that had an effect on the decisions being made. USA is a task-oriented country where they prefer to keep the status quo towards completing the work, but Europeans are more towards relationship-oriented. When it comes to having legal liabilities, it is considered as a risk to American companies, where the company could easily lose money. But European companies saw the legal agreement as a bonding between them and the industry in Bangladesh. H&M being a Swedish company, and Sweden is known to be the most relationship oriented country with a score of 5, whereas USA is in the higher range of 62. America is known to have startup sector valued at $225 billion, whereas the European market for startup has 34 billion in value. This is mainly due to the capitalist economy in America, where everyone is encouraged to have business practices and aim to make more revenue. While Europe is also a capitalist, USA has an extreme capitalist behavior. The confidence that US consumers will buy clothing irrespective of where it's being sourced from made US companies not to worry about customers rejecting their products. Some countries in Europe lean towards socialism, for example, Denmark. Upon comparing the individualistic scores of US and Europe, US has 20 points more than Europe, which supports the case where the 70 European companies were ready to invest on the safety agreements sheet, whereas only 2 American companies agreed to join. A collectivistic behavior makes you care for people and their well-being apart from self. The, the conflict reduction techniques that are used can be classified into three types over here: use of rules and regulations. The labor laws and international regulations were used to force American companies such as Walmart and Target into signing the agreement. With the help of United Nations, public and some companies try to convey the importance and advantage of having safety agreements with factories in Bangladesh. Initially, when the American companies were not ready to sign the deal, the employees protested and retaliated. In addition to that, the activists in Europe and in USA contributed a lot into making public aware of the situation. The three factors that has affected negotiation of safety agreement post Rana Plaza collapse are win-win over win-lose. For the European companies to sign the agreement, there has to be good reasons for it. Their reputation of being responsible for their products being sourced ethically would bring in reputation, and it would bring justice to the victims of accident. Well, this was a factor for European companies with respect to American companies. It was a win-lose situation. The Americans are known for taking high risk only when they realize they are being benefited, because they thought they would be in a lose-win situation in case they signed the agreement. They did not agree to go ahead with this deal with the Europe. The American companies are most task-oriented, thus pursuing to just get safety reformations in the factories in Bangladesh, unlike European companies who thought of building a better relationship through a legal agreement. The negotiations was mainly to get American companies on board to be legally liable for safety agreements. International pressure from all type of organizations such as trade unions, International Labor Union, forced H&M into agreeing to sign the deal and 70 other companies. A minimal success was seen in American companies being convinced to join the agreement. While confrontation technique was useful for Europeans, Americans were focused on the risk being legally liable to the companies in Bangladesh, which could result in them losing money. Thus, it was unsuccessful in getting the American companies on board. In spite of this, American companies invested in safety reformation in factories and were also paid welfare for the victims. Following are the references used in the case study. Thank you.